Hello everyone, this is Fabio and welcome back. Today we're going to do a game discussion video and we're going to talk about a game that I almost finished. I'm not finished yet, and it's a bit weird because I usually do these kind of videos where after I finish the game, but in this case I've decided to do the video anyways because I just have to beat the final boss of the game. So basically at the end I already have all the information I need to do the video. And the game I'm talking about is for the PSP, and it's Jeanne d'Arc by Level 5, published in 2007, I think. So it's a pretty old game nowadays, but it's a game that is well worth talking about. So yes, as I said, I just have to face the final boss again. I tried it already yesterday, but failed. And I was thinking about retrying and really finish the game before doing the discussion, but I decided who cares. I know what I want. I mean, even finishing the game completely will not change my opinion on the game. It will not change the things I want to say about the game I'm focusing on. It's just the final battle. I kind of have an idea, actually two different ideas, how the game could end. So finishing or not, it's not a big deal for the discussion. It's the sake of the discussion. So let's go in a sort of order. But first of all, I really want to thank Steven the Lag Gamer for letting me buying this game, really, for letting me getting curious about this game, because I've heard about Jeanne d'Arc previously, but then I was listening to a kind of older episode of another gaming podcast, and they were talking about strategy RPGs in general, and Steven mentioned Jeanne d'Arc and talked about it as a really good game and everything, so it kind of renew my interest in this game. And the thing with Jeanne d'Arc, unfortunately, that I have to mention before starting talking about everything else, it's that it's kind of an expensive game. Probably because it's very good. I don't know how these things work, but I was really lucky when I bought it. But we can talk about that later. Actually, let's talk about the important stuff first. Well, I have to be honest, a veteran in strategy RPGs, because this is what the game is, of course. It's a strategy RPG by Level 5. And the first time I played a strategy RPG, the first time I can remember at least, I don't remember on the Super Nintendo or on the NES or anything like that. The first time I remember playing a strategy RPG was on the PS1, and was not Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics, like for many other people, because we didn't have that game in Europe. My first game that was a strategy RPG was Front Mission 3 on the PS1. A really, really cool strategy RPG with mecha, and it was based in a sort of near future or something like that. That was extremely cool. I didn't own it, unfortunately. A friend of mine had, and I played that game a lot, but I didn't finish it. I remember that. There was a really difficult mission. But I loved it, and I think, man, this strategy RPGs are really good, actually. I should play more of this. And so I kind of did, but at the same time I didn't for a while, because I don't own a good strategy RPG on the DS. I have two of them. One, it's Oshikami, which is a garbage game. I hate that game. I talked about it in a previous video. I really don't like it, even though I wanted to like it in a way, but it's a long story. And the other one, it's Hero and Magic. How's it called? I don't know. It's sort of fantasy, and it's not bad actually, but it's not the best strategy RPG I've ever played. It's okay, yes, it's not bad at all. But for the most time on the DS, I don't own strategy RPGs, so I skipped the genre for a while. But then, reading forums and watching videos or something like that on YouTube or other channels, I thought, well, I heard that the PSP has some good strategy RPG, and according to certain bloggers or on videos, and people hold Jeanne d'Arc in very high regards. Some people consider it one of the best or the best strategy RPG that the PSP has to offer, and I agree, actually. Jeanne d'Arc is an excellent game. And I can say that even though I haven't finished it yet, this is a phenomenal strategy RPG. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. The main idea, of course, as the title suggests, it a sort of revisited or reimagined story of Jeanne d'Arc, the famous, we all know about her, famous heroine who led France's armies during the most difficult period, most difficult phase of the Hundred-Year War against England. And basically this is a reimagination that adds fantasy element and a more detailed story. And basically, in this game, you take the role of Jeanne d'Arc and a group of her friends, Liane and Roger, from the Vigil de Remy, and you join French army to liberate France from the English army. During the campaign, you're following the steps of the real Jeanne d'Arc, like the Battle of Orléans, the coronation of Rheims, the Battle of Paris, all those steps. But then there's all this sub-story that progressively actually becomes the real story. Sorry, and the main focus of the story. So, and that was what really caught my curiosity, and it's the thing that I like the most about the game. Basically, it's this setting. It's, yes, it is 15th century France, but at the same time there's this strong fantasy element that makes it more not necessarily interesting, but different enough to have this really weird charm to see realistic characters, plus like the those beastmen, the Terrians, there you go, I couldn't remember the name, or elves or dwarves, all these fantasy creatures. And then there is all this legendary war, the Reaper War, that was fought like in the past before, and humanity was able to win thanks to these 5 heroes who held these magic items, the armlets, who allows them to have great powers and all this good stuff that we all know about it. And basically, Jeanne is chosen to have one of these armlets completely randomly, apparently, at the beginning. I'm not spoiling anything because this is just the beginning of the game. You take possession of the armlet. It's not a spoiler. And also, this is an old game, so... And that's how the game starts. And then, as I said, you follow first the real campaign, and then there's all this sub-story that is actually the main focus of the story, which is the war against the Reapers and these demons. And I wish that more games are like this, that there is this combination of history and fantasy, because it could be so interesting to revisit and expand real life wars or campaigns or events in this way. It could make it more like this different approach. It could be so interesting, I think. I mean, to me, a war that could have an amazing game with this touch, like with this all fantasy element, could be, for example, the Second Punic War between Rome and Carthage. That would be perfect, like Hannibal summoning demons and something like that. That would be phenomenal, I think. But other than the story, which is really good, I really like this, the main story of Jeanne d'Arc, and also it's quite longer than I expected, because I remember I was playing it like a couple of weeks ago or something, and I was at the Battle of Paris. I think, oh well, the game should be probably almost over now, since the real campaign was almost over. But then all the other story takes over, and it gets more interesting in a way. Because my actual favorite part of the game, other than this setting, which is great, because the general story, it's the real story plus this fantasy story, which is good. But the best part of the game to me are actually the characters. These characters are really well developed, especially some of them, because you have quite a large cast of characters and that you can use in battle. Some, well, like better developed than others, but that's normal in a game. I mean, we all want like excellent characters again, but sometimes, most of the time, some are more interesting than others. There's nothing we can do. And the 3 main characters of the game, so Jeanne, Roger, and Liane, are really, really well done, really well developed. And the story between the 3 of them, it's probably the best part of the game. There are other really good characters, like I really like Gilles, of course. Um, the frog quiz is actually a really good character, unexpectedly at the beginning. The Duke of Bedford, the main villain of the game, because there is another villain other than him, but he is by far the most interesting, and I really like, in a way, the simplicity of his motives. I mean, it's nothing too complicated at the end. I mean, when he explains why he did the things he did, and I was thinking, like, this is so simple but yet so powerful, and it makes perfect sense. Sometimes you don't need overcomplicated motives to do something. I mean, I won't spoil it, of course, but I think he was a great villain with really simple but really powerful motives that you understand why he did everything, why he summoned the Reapers and everything. I really like that. But again, let's go back to the three main characters. I mean, because Liane and Roger, of course, for to the best of my knowledge, are not real characters, but they're developed very well, and the interaction between the three of them, it's really well done. And connected to these three, it's probably the most unexpected and interesting part of the game, like the halfway point of the game, that something happened that I didn't expect. I was like, whoa, what's going on? A big change in the game happens, and that deeply affects and changes the story. And it's all connected with these three characters, and it's done very well. And as I said, there are other characters very interesting. And how many characters do you have? Like almost 20, I think, at one point. I mean, it's a pretty big cast of interesting characters. And I love how they look in the game, because it's this mix between anime style and a more realistic look, especially during combat. I mean, in the gameplay graphics, it's still a sort of anime, or kind of deformed in a way, but not too much. They're like, the characters have this kind of realistic look on their face, while I love the cutscenes of the game, since they are all anime style, and I have a soft spot for that. I love anime style graphics in game, and this is like just looking Jeanne d'Arc the anime. That was really cool, by the way. Some scenes are fantastic while they're talking in English with this thick French accent. Really cool. And let's move to the other best feature, the best thing of the game, which is of course the gameplay and combat. Since in strategy RPG, fundamental, it's the combat, of course. If it works fine, if it works well, you have a great game. Like Oshikami doesn't work because the combat is not very well done and it's overly difficult. Jeanne d'Arc, it's not like that. Combat, it's perfect to me. That is exactly what I wanted from a strategy RPG. Simple, yet it can get deeper if it's necessary. I mean, it's not just you charge an enemy and swing your sword and you're done. There's more to it. There are all the skills you can give to a character. You can upgrade a character with certain type of skills, more physical or more magical, or more slightly different. For example, I focus my Jeanne, the main character Jeanne, with a special skill rather than too much on combat. Like I gave her a skill that gives her more experience, the possibility to have more critical damage, to regenerate her health, all these kind of things. More special skill that allows her to fight better. While, for example, another character like Lahir, who is a tank, of course, I gave him more health, more damage, the possibility to hit the enemy. So all these kind of things. While a wizard like Richard, for example, who is a wizard, I gave you like more HP, more magic damage. You can mess a lot with the skills. You can create skills, and that is something that I didn't do too much. For example, I should probably, but for the most part, and up until now at the final battle, I didn't need to do that, to mess with like creating skills and everything. I probably should, as I said, but if I don't have the need to do something, and But for the rest, it's very simple actually. You move your characters, you attack the enemy in whatever need you have, whenever you can. Especially you should attack from the side or behind because you can do more damage. But they can do the same thing. And overall, it's not extremely difficult as a game. Although I have one big complaint. It doesn't ruin the game or anything like that, but sometimes it makes it more frustrating. And that it's, of course, the turn limit. That for every map, you have a certain number of turns that you have to finish before that limit. You reach that limit. So, for example, you have a 12, 15, 20 turns, or 40 in the final battle. And if you miss that, it's game over and you start from the title screen. That is very annoying. I mean, I didn't like that because it doesn't increase the difficulty of the game, and it just frustrating, just annoying. It forces you to hurry, but of course, when you're in a rush, sometimes you take bad decision. I did it sometimes. Go, oh, I have to hurry. Who cares about deploying well? We just need to finish in 10 turns, and I have to kill 40 enemies in 10 turns. So, and sometimes I was like, oh shit, I put that character where I shouldn't, and they kill him, or like that. It doesn't add too much of a challenge. It just makes you hurry and do stupid things sometimes. So that's the only thing I didn't like about the game. It wasn't necessary. I don't see why having a turn limit. I don't know. It's just it is. But as I say, it's the only thing that I didn't like. Because, for example, the map that I had to do the most was the Coronation of Rem, because you have to escort the French Dauphin, the King wannabe, let's call it like that, Charles VII, to the Cathedral of Rem. Of course, you have to protect him, and the English army are trying to stop him. The only problem there is that Charles VII always charged forward to the cathedral, and it makes you more. It makes more difficult for you to protect him because it's always exposed to attack, and of course it dies with one hit. So I have to do that map, I think, 5 or 6 times, simply because it was just running towards the cathedral, and with all archers or assassins or something like that all around him. It was very difficult to do it. I mean, wait a second, wait for me. But apart from that, that's okay. I can understand that kind of challenge. With the turn limits, on the other hand, I really didn't. I say, what's the point of this? It doesn't add challenge to the game. It's just more annoying. Because most of the time, with some exception, I've have to do a map again simply because I ran out of turns. That was annoying. But apart from that, this game is an excellent strategy RPG. I mean, it has a really good story, really great characters. I cannot underline enough how much I love Jeanne, Leon, and Roger. These are really good characters. Also the others, I say, but these 3 in particular. And has a really simple. It can be more, much deeper if you want, combat system. And it's necessary to be deeper. I mean, if you don't equip your character, it's going to be weaker. And also, the entire combat system, for most part, with some exception, it's based on a sort of rock, paper, scissors system, based on 3 different elements that you can equip your characters with. There are also a neutral element that makes things a bit more challenging. That was a good idea, for example. But there is like Sun, Star, and Moon, Sol, Star, and Luna, and one of these is stronger with the other but weaker against the other. For example, Sun, it's vulnerable to Moon but it's stronger against Star, and vice versa. I mean, it's the usual thing as the rock, paper, scissors. That makes things a bit more strategic. For example, for one map you can focus on a certain element, but then you always need at least 1 or 2 characters with a different one, because the enemy is not that stupid. Maybe most of their troops are Star, for example, but sometimes they have 1 or 2 Moon and 1 Sun that may make things more challenging for you. That's a good thing, contrary to the stupid turn limit. So next, let's talk about the music. And unfortunately, I have to say the music was good, but not memorable. That's the thing. I mean, there are really good themes in this game, but for the most part, they're not unforgettable to me. Maybe I didn't pay too much attention. I don't know, but that's the thing. There are good things. For example, the title screen music. That's very good. I really like that. Some other themes are more generic, while others are much better. For example, I love the first battle theme music. That was really good. It's nicer than others. For example, the boss battle theme, it's more ominous, of course. But in general, I don't think the music of this game it's that spectacular. I mean, it's good, but as I said, not memorable. I think, for example, a game like Ease has this mind-blowing soundtrack that, in a way, you almost want to play the game for the music. Jeanne d'Arc, it's not the case. It has a good music, but I will not buy the soundtrack. Let's put it like this. It's a good music while you're playing the game. It's never on the way like, what's shitty music? I don't like this. Because you can have that. For example, a game that usually have good music, a series that have good music usually, Castlevania. If you play, what's it called? There's a blank spot here. Harmony of Dissonance. There you go. On Game Boy Advance. The music in the game is horrible, and for the most part, I play it on mute. And I didn't expect that. I mean, what the hell? This is a Castlevania game. It should have good music. With Jeanne d'Arc, I always wanted the music because it's good for the game, because it's never in the way, because like you have to think strategically, for example, to do the battle. You're not like there, oh, listen to this good music. But it's never like, there is never a situation like you stop playing in order to listen to the music. But sometimes you do that, like for example with some Mega Man game, East game, Castlevania games. Jeanne d'Arc, it's not one of these, but at the same time has a good music. But to me, that was not the main thing, the main reason to play the game. Of course, if a game has good music, I love it. But in this kind of game, that was not the main focus. It has a good soundtrack, but nothing special. But at the same time, was good to accompany you during the battle or during the story. So overall, I think that the Jeanne d'Arc, it's a must. I mean, it's a for now, I think it's among some of the best games I played on the PSP, because I love RPGs, as you know, and I really like strategy RPGs. Just I don't know why I skipped this genre for a long time. There is no reason. It's not I don't like it or anything. It's simply on the DS I didn't find many, but on the PSP there are a lot of good strategy RPG. For what I know, already one of them ready to go. Although, unfortunately, I have to mention this, I have to buy a new PSP because while I was playing Jeanne d'Arc, probably because I just put it on my bag while I go to work or something, there is a little crack on my PSP that it's messing with the stick. I don't know how these things work, but the camera was going all over the place. It was insanely annoying, like doing the final battle of Jeanne d'Arc, which is difficult, and it leads to a little rant, I have to say. With the camera going all over the place, it's hard to concentrate. And now I want to play some Jak and Daxter, but I cannot because the stick is not working well. I mean, if I don't do anything, I can see Jak running somewhere. So yeah, I have to buy a new PSP. And I remember, like, when I tried the final battle of Jeanne d'Arc, that battle is really long and difficult, especially the final part of the final battle. Yeah, I said that. Because you can divide that in 3 parts. First you have to kill some soldiers, then you have to kill 4 big demons, and then you have to kill the final boss. Basically, I did okay in the first 2 parts. I mean, it's challenging, of course. It's the final battle. It's a challenge. It's very difficult. But then at the end, it was just unfair. Unfairly difficult. Because the enemy, Gilvaroth, this demon, simply regenerate all of his health at the beginning of its turn. It doesn't matter how much damage I did. it just at the beginning of this turn it was just it just recovered all of his HPs. It's like, what the hell? That's not fair. Because some of my characters did nothing physically because I focused them on other things. Like I want a character with a strong evasion, but at the same time, her damage, like Rose, for example, her damage was nothing special, so she did 0. So yeah, that was really annoying. So for this, after I was defeated because I lost one of the main character, I look on the internet looking for some suggestion, without necessarily going to a GameFAQs. I know there are specific advices, but I just writing on Google suggesting to beat Gilgaroth on Jeanne d'Arc, and that pisses me off so much because all on these forums people say, oh, that battle is easy, because I was on level 87 when I did it. I was, whoa, my strongest character Jeanne is at level 63. All my other characters are between 55 and 60. So how much did you grind? I don't want to do that, because up until now I'm with most of my characters I'm at the right level for that kind of difficulty. I don't want to spend 30 hours grinding just to beat the final boss. I mean, and all the answers were like that. My characters were level 99. I mean, that's not helpful, guys. Of course you beat it if you are like 30 levels stronger than him. That's not what I'm asking. I don't care about that. Just want to know for a normal level, because now I played the game for around 30 hours, and that's the right amount of time I want to put in that game. I don't want to spend 70 hours just to grind in order to beat the final boss. I don't care about that. That's not the point. So yeah, that was really annoying. So yeah, that's very helpful. Just be at level 90 and you can beat him. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to spend 30 hours grinding. So, as I said, Jeanne d'Arc, it's definitely a must for the PSP collection. It's a great strategy RPG. I have to play more of them on the PSP, but so far this is, to me, the reference for a good strategy RPG from this moment on. It's definitely one of the best I ever played, and it was great playing on the go. I mean, that's why this handless system now, like the PSP and the PS Vita, the DS, 3DS, they're so good, because they have games like this and you can play wherever you want. And it has, Jeanne d'Arc has a great story that, let's say actually, a very interesting approach to a real story, great characters, a fantastic combat system, and overall it makes for a great experience. I cannot recommend this game enough. To me it's a must on a PSP collection. If you're remotely interested to RPGs and the various subgenres like strategy, action and everything, this is absolutely necessary, I think, because it's one of the best strategy RPG I've ever played. And even though I haven't played and finished so many games on the PSP yet, it's already among a possible top 10 RPG PSP games, because it's that good. Even though it's not perfect. For example, I hate the turn limits, but that's just me because I found it annoying. Maybe people find it challenging, not me. But that's beyond the point. Already talked about that. So there you have it, guys. These are my thoughts on Jeanne d'Arc. I understand I haven't finished the game, but I think I played 99% of it. I haven't spent too much time on side quests or grinding or messing with the skill generator stuff. A little. Like, I did some side quests, not all of them probably, but I think I'm at a right level to beat the game. I just have to understand how to beat it. I just have to beat the final boss. So I don't feel bad to do a discussion without having finished the game, because I play the game the right amount of time. I just have to finish it. It's just the little extra that's missing. But for the rest, these were my thoughts. Even though I finished the games, these were my thoughts. It wouldn't change anything. So, like always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.